Steelers version of the GMFB band is together. Welcome inside Good Morning Football. It's Monday, April 27th, the Monday after the completion of the 2026 NFL Draft. Jamie Erdahl here in LA with Manti Te'o, Willie Colon joining Kyle Brandt in New York at the booth at Choney's 2026 NFL Draft. It's a wrap, Kyle. You were in Pittsburgh all weekend. I have to assume Willie was as well. How was the Steel City for you too?
Fantastic. Willie, were you there?
No.
Oh, good. That's right. So only played for the Steelers, won a Super Bowl with the Steelers.
Yeah.
He wasn't there, and I was for some reason. But good news, guys. This morning, I'm going to drop my 2027 mock draft 1.0. We're going to start breaking it all down, guys. Let's get after it. It's already mock draft season. Willie's here. I'm here, LA. Good Morning Football. Let's talk all the weekend stuff.
That's right. It's a Jamie, Manti, Willie, and Kyle edition of Good Morning Football. You know, we've been talking a lot of mock drafts. 2026 is official. Kyle, quick clarification on the mock draft concept. You just made a joke that you had a 1.0 version of coming for 2027. If someone does like a half of a round, does it become like a 1.5? Like, when did we get the 1.0, 2.0 situation happening?
I don't know, but I think by the time the actual draft happens, I think some of these guys have like 6.0. I feel like didn't Daniel Jeremiah get to 5.0 or 6.0? But honestly, we're taking away the spotlight from where it should be right now, away from the mock drafters. It really should be on Draft Grade Guy, who's now dropping all his letter grades, and they're all Teflon. They'll all exactly play out exactly that way. If you get a good draft grade, you're going to win 5 Super Bowls. If you have a D, you're done. Right. It always works out. Oh my gosh!
It's like the bracketology experts. Like, they want to be so right. Yeah. So you're like, well, now the tournament actually gets played. Now the guys who got drafted actually have to go out there and show them what they're worth in 2026. Excuse me. On Friday, we showed you a video of Sean McVay. Everybody was all over this. Looking a little upset. Body language experts would have been all over this. When the Rams took with the 13th overall pick, Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson, that's what the head coach looked like, sitting next to the GM. Here's the phone call, though, that went down between Sean McVay and the Rams' newest quarterback.
I'm going to pass you to your new head coach, Sean McVay.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
What's up, Coach?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, man. Well, congratulations, man. Excited to get to work with you. It's going to be a lot of fun, buddy.
Let's go make history, Coach.
Yeah. No, and hey, enjoy this night, man. You earned it. Have fun. Tell your family we're excited to meet him, and can't wait to get going with you, buddy.
Yes, sir, Coach. Appreciate you.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Okay, so that's how that conversation, the first one, went between Sean McVay and Ty Simpson. You know that body language picture I was just talking about? Vastly different than the body language we saw from these two gentlemen that were sitting next to each other on the draft set on Saturday in Pittsburgh. Of course, Kyle, you know what I'm referencing, and that is the fact that Kyle Brandt and Peter Schrager once again got to sit next to each other. That is not what Sean McVay and Les Snead look like. Kyle, how was your Saturday with your old friend?
It was awesome. It was like those two guys in the night at the Roxbury back together in the club one more time. What is love? It was awesome. It's great to see Peter. It's great to be there in Pittsburgh. And listen, the best part about it wasn't just hanging out with Peter again and making dumb 90s references. It was that, you know, Peter was able to sit down, and we got Sean McVay on the show. And I think we have the clip of this. Am I going to go to this now? This is myself and Peter. And by the way, to Sean McVay's credit, he has this really weird moment on Thursday night, and I will call it weird. It was weird. And then he completely shows up, faced the music, addressed all the questions, and we were able to ask him, Sean, you just drafted a first-round quarterback. That's an exciting thing. Why were you looking the way that you looked? And here's how it went. Let's go back, if we can, to Thursday night. I was unhappy because you looked unhappy. We are so used to you being this positive, go-get-em football SOB, and that guy wasn't there. This is a safe space. What was going on with you that night?
Well, there was some other things I was grumpy about that, you just navigate normally. But I think the main thing, Kyle, was you just wanted to make sure that I would have been stoic by nature anyways, just based on the respect for Matthew, because it's a unique situation. You get a chance to be able to, take a player that you like at a really important position, but you don't want it to be minimized or misunderstood in terms of what this means in terms of our investment and our commitment to Matthew for as long as he wants to continue to play. And so you're kind of teetering that line, and clearly, I came off a little grumpier than normal.
He really did. And Jamie already showed the body language. And I said this to Sean, and I'll say it now again, but it's the contrast that normally he's so upbeat and that's so attack the world. And you got this Ty Simpson who's weeping tears of joy, and he says to Sean, "Let's go make history." Like, that's something that Sean would say. Sean says, "Let's go make history." That's like his sort of mantra. That he's speaking McVay to McVay, and McVay's like, yeah, whatever. It was a weird moment. And listen, we have been down this road a million times, Willie, where the franchise quarterback is there and they draft the quarterback of the future. And I think the franchise quarterback always hates it. I think Favre hated Rodgers. I think Rodgers hated that they drafted Love. I guess, I don't know, I think that Matthew Stafford hates that they drafted Ty Simpson. Not that he's threatened or anything, but like, my God, you couldn't have got me another wide receiver. You couldn't have got me another lineman, just anything. And I think it's very complicated. It becomes very contentious. And I think Sean McVay was dealing with a lot of things that night. And I suspect one of them might have been that Matthew Stafford was not happy. But here we are. We're days later. Sean addresses it. I never liked this approach, personally. I don't like drafting the future quarterback while you're a breath away from a Super Bowl. But it is very in vogue. And the Rams have this right, Willie, where they're like, we're great every single year. We're one of the best teams in the league every single year. We do our own thing and don't apologize for it. So that's our deal. And I love that finally Sean was about to laugh about it, because it was a weird 48 hours for him.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to process the why, right? And when you talk about being a breath away from the Super Bowl, you're right. You have an aging receiver in Davante Adams. You have Mekhi Lemon, a receiver who can stabilize your offense and stabilize the receiving room. And I'm saying you passed on him. You also had an opportunity to get Ruben Bain, right, who could be a great asset to that mean defensive line you already have. You also have Blake Miller, who I was really high on, who I thought was a dog at Clemson, a finisher, great at the second level. You could have added pieces. What kills me about this, you drafted a kid who only had 15 starts, didn't really pop off the tape from a stats point of view, and also didn't play well through injury. And we're supposed to believe he's supposed to be the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. So I'm still struggling with why they did it. I get right now. Think about some of these old heads that are on this roster, KB. Tyler Higbee's in his 30s. David Queensberry's in his 30s. Devontae Adams in his 30s. Like, all these guys are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
They're not even entry-level 30s.
Right.
Devontae's like well into his 30s.
Yeah, but on top of that, when you saw Matthew Stafford standing on that stage with his family and saying, hey, I'm coming back for another year. You saw Sean McVay jump out the seat. We all said, oh, they're knocking at the door. They're going to get this thing, man. And now, at the 13th pick, they take Ty Simpson. I'm saying, man, that feels irresponsible. It doesn't feel like a commitment to win a Super Bowl next year. So I'm still struggling with it. I love Sean McVay. I love Snead. I love what the Rams have been able to do. They've been knocking at the door for a while. But this feels this is a big question mark for me, KB.
So, Willie, you said something. You said they could have, right? They could have drafted somebody. The realities of the Rams entering into this NFL draft was they didn't need to. There's one of the very few times as a franchise that you're looking at a draft where you're really drafting for depth, right? You mentioned Davante Adams. He's up there in age, but he's the starter. So you're trying to draft somebody to complement him or somebody to back him up. So when I look at the Rams and they didn't have any needs. They were just drafting off of wants. And a lot of the foolish things that I've purchased have happened when I didn't have any needs. Like when I went to Costco one time, I didn't need anything. I just went there to get some eggs, maybe some rice. But you know what I walked out with, guys?
Another air fryer?
Watch. This is what I walked out with. I walked out with this big old inflatable thing. Jamie, you came over to the house. It was like dinosaur that was hanging from the rafters of Costco. I went in there to get two things. I walked out with a $500 little inflatable dinosaur thing that had some water fountains that shot out of it. So I don't dislike the pick. I dislike where it happened. I thought 13 was a little bit too expensive. Now, I don't dislike my little inflatable thing that shoots water. My kids love it. Sometimes I look at it as like, dude, I really need that right now at this time. Does it make my life any easier, or is it one of those things that I kind of just pull out when I want to? Now, I do hope that the Rams love their pick. I believe that they do, because, unfortunately, the NFL draft and the NFL, you don't have the type of return policy that Costco has, so I hope that they love it.
Well, the irony with that purchase, Manti, and maybe with the Rams quarterback draft pick, is that, like, you stand in Costco and you're like, how often am I really going to use that? Is the dollar per use really reasonable? Like, how often are we going to see Ty Simpson over the first 4 years of his rookie contract? Because Stafford just came off of his MVP campaign, and I think that's what people are confused about. The other part of this story, which was fun, maybe not funny if you're a Rams fan, maybe funny if you're a 49ers fan, was the reaction that the brass in San Francisco took to when their GM, 49ers GM John Lynch, was asked about, hey, so the Rams took a quarterback first overall, a little high for some people's expertise, in Ty Simpson. That was the facial reaction, and now McVay addressed this as well with Kyle and Peter once again.
Lynch and Shanahan just had their first round. They're sitting down to talk about it. Their butts hadn't even hit the seat yet when they're getting asked about your pick, number 13, and the second the topic comes up, you know, Lynch, he gets this big crap-eating grin on his face. He's smiling. He's looking down. What do you make of that? Because the internet's on fire with it.
You know what? I love John. I'd be interested to see what's he smirking at there. You know, what'd you take away from that?
I think he's really happy that you drafted a guy he won't have to play this year. That's my take, Sean.
Yeah, well, hey. Well, hey, I got a lot of respect for Lynchy. I can't wait to be able to see him and see if he was smirking at us.
You know, I really missed Peter's nervous giggle. Like, Peter's sitting there giggling at the fact that Kyle's stirring the pot. Kyle gets to ask the question that everybody wants to know, and Peter just gets to kind of jump on it, but he's like, hee-hee, Kyle's getting after it. Those two teams are going to meet week 1 in Australia. Hopefully we're not seeing Ty Simpson start that game. Kyle, yeah, that's going down September 10th. So how do you now, at 48 hours after that question was asked and answered, do you feel that that went?
Well, which question are we talking about? The one I asked McVay or the one McVay asked me? Because Sean is a master of going back at the interviewer and saying, well, what do you think about it? And that's a good strategy. That he had done it before, and so I was ready for him to do it. My answer to the 49ers thing was actually probably cut in half. I think Lynch was amused that he was immediately asked about another team's draft. But I do think that it was a good day in San Francisco when they drafted Ty Simpson. I do think there was a subtext there of, okay, yeah, see that smile again? Wait, who did the Rams take with the number 13 pick? Willie just put up a whole full screen of weapons they could have used to hurt us this year. Instead, they took some guy who, made hypothetical, and Willie, come with me in your headspace right now.
I'm here.
The LA Rams are in January. They're playing some crazy game against Seattle or San Francisco or somebody from the East that I don't know. And it's 31-30, and there's 3 minutes left. And for the love of God, they need one play.
They need a play.
Somebody just make a tackle or bat down a pass or drag your toe and make the catch. Anything. And they're like, who's going to make a play? And they look over on the sideline. The number 13 overall pick is wearing a parka in the snow on the road, and he's just sitting there. He's doing nothing. And that could have been just someone to help us. It's like maybe Ty Simpson will, what's the best case scenario? He becomes Jordan Love. He becomes your franchise quarterback, who we think is still pretty good. Don't you just do anything you can to get another Super Bowl and then worry about it afterwards, especially the bleep them picks Rams. This was against them. And the last thing, it's not like the Ty Simpson thing makes it more complicated because they didn't just draft a quarterback who won't help them this year. They draft a quarterback who's not exactly drop-dead gorgeous in the football sense. Like, it's a guy who's like, yeah, I mean, isn't there going to be a Ty Simpson next year and the year after that? Due respect to him, but, like, he's not some crazy, we have to take this guy prospect. And yet, neither was Jordan Love. Jordan Love led the NFL and led the college football in interceptions when he was drafted, and they traded up to do it. These teams get infatuated with the future, and they're like, we can see it for years. I'm just looking at February, man, and I feel like the 2026 Rams should be there, and he's not going to help them. It bothers me, but that's their deal. They wanted and they got him.
Yeah, I think he also looks at it like, man, we right where we need to be. Because you talk about the Seattle Seahawks, they lost Clint Kubiak. They deprived at the running back position. They lost some guys on defense. So you feel like the Seahawks has dropped a notch. The Rams are supposed to go in his draft and step up a notch. That didn't happen because they took Ty Simpson at 13. So now if you're the 49ers, say, hey, man, we're all at an even playing field, right? I feel like we have the edge because even though we drafted out of the first round twice, we got guys who fit our mold. We got guys who we feel we can win with right now. We got guys who are younger, who add value, who help balance out this roster. So they're not afraid of the Rams. They're not afraid of the Seahawks. John Lynch is like, if anything, he's saying, all right, knuckles up. Let's all put our foot in the middle of the ring and bang this thing out because the roster he has feels like he can compete against the Rams and Seahawks and come out of this thing on top. So John Lynch is being like, yeah, you did something I didn't think you would do, but since you did it, we're ready to rock. And so the 49ers feel like they're in a great place, KB.
Well, I just finished watching this movie, F1, with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And
I saw it.
Formula One racing. And the reason why I bring that up is I think about the NFC West, and they're that Formula One racer. You know, like there's the three fastest cars, and it's the Niners, it's the Seahawks, and it's the Rams. And right now, all three of them pulled into the pit. And as the 49ers are pulling out, they just saw that the LA Rams, somebody in the pit just dropped a wrench or something. And that was a smirk that I think that John Lynch has as his car is pulling out and he sees the Rams may have had a little hiccup as they're pulling out. So going into this offseason, I think John Lynch, you look at the Rams, you look at the Seattle Seahawks, there's just this competition where the slightest mistake, the slightest hiccup could put them in the rear view. And I think John Lynch has the idea and that feeling that this may give the San Francisco 49ers a little advantage over the LA Rams.
F1 is a classic airplane movie. Were you going somewhere?
Yeah.
Cross country. Oh, very interesting, man, Ty. We are just 5 months away. You can watch like 10 F1 straight on your way to Australia and back. Speaking of, we're 5 months away from the Niners and the Rams. They're playing in Melbourne come September 10th. You will see it on the morning of Friday, September 11th here in the States. But kickoff is Thursday, 5:35 p.m. local to Melbourne. And that is one to watch, especially whether or not Ty Simpson will be wearing the parka on the sideline. Will it be that cold in Melbourne? Remains to be the question. Ty Simpson not on that poster. Moving on. Day 3 in Pittsburgh had